driving back out to a site because they forgot to record something. I mean, you need people who really understand the process if you want to cut down on that. Recording digitally doesn't really cut down on that process much.
Oh, does it?
No, you still have to type. Because voice doesn't work very well in the wind.
True.
And voice doesn't work very well in people's brains either. Like, we don't live in Star Trek world where you can just quote whole journal entries without screwing it up.
True.
So you still have to do all those things, which means you don't really save a ton of time doing that. You might, because you can have your references there a little quicker available to you rather than pulling out your 3-ring binder or something like that. But where you really save time, the biggest time savings is recording digitally and then processing those data digitally in the office.
See, that's
so you
what
don't
I was
have to
wondering
transcribe.
about. Like, how much of those 10 hours is devoted to that? Or
A
like
lot of it. A lot of that is devoted to site record transcription, and for two reasons. One, people aren't, hired because of their typing skills.
That's true.
And
that's
two,
true as well.
People, when they're writing in the field, they often use shorthand and things like that, which that shorthand makes the office work suffer. People will say, yeah, but office work is cheaper. They're right. And the old way of doing things, if you're going to transcribe anyway, I 100% agree with shorthand in the field.
But then how many people know real shorthand?
Well, it's not real shorthand. It's acronyms and saying things like same as this record, stuff like that, without actually typing it down. But with digital archaeology, we can do stuff like simply just duplicate that record. And then it's done. Now somebody doesn't have to worry about it in the office. You just duplicate it and change the particulars and you're finished. But that's where those inefficiencies can be mitigated. Like I said, you can have people doing just better work in the office based on the fieldwork they were received.
Wait, how much of that better field work could be done by discussing word processors?
Oh my God! Listen to the Archaeotech podcast and you'll find out. Honestly, we had a whole 40-minute discussion on word processing stuff, and I'll tell you what, it's a big issue because I know so many people. I mean, even if you're using something like WildNote to record in the field, a lot of people still want to take that to a Word document to do stuff to, whether that's copying information from there and going to a report, because you're still writing a report in something like Microsoft Word. And if you don't understand how to use that, this is one place where you can knock down that 10-to-1 ratio. And you can say, listen, I didn't have to spend 16 hours correcting your crappy bullet points because you know how to use tabs and spaces, tabs and how to use them correctly.
Although, one thing you didn't mention on the show that I will mention now is the fact that some of that Google software is actually smart enough to do auto formatting for you. So like if you've been adding a bullet manually, it'll start adding them just automatically. Yes,
but you got to make sure that when it adds it automatically, if you change that or move it in or something like that, and then somebody else is working on chapter 5, and you're working on chapter 3, that you have the same type of formatting. And that's where templates and things like that come into play.
Also, I know a lot of people still, I don't know why, but a lot of people still carry around the Write and the Reins, but it's like there's so many good note-taking apps that are like you can share. Like you can work collaboratively on.
Yeah, working collaboratively is really the thing that we're lacking in this field a lot.
Like
that's where digital comes to play.
Like I had it's a long story, but I'm now on my winter break, and so my replacement, was a little overwhelmed, so I gave her as much info as I could and tried to prepare her as good as I could. And one of those things I did was I took notes on future sites I had to monitor.
Oh yeah.
Complete with UTM coordinates and photos and everything, and I keep them in Google Keep.
Yeah.
And so I was just able to unfortunately Google Keep does not, unless they're also using Google Keep, does not allow you to whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
But what you can do is do a workaround and download it as a PDF and then send that to someone, which I did.
Okay.
So I just sent it to them, so it had obviously they can't interact with it, but they can see it.
Nice.
They can see my notes. They can see the site, what site number it was, and where it is, and what it looks like, and stuff like that. So hopefully that was useful to that person.
I hope so. It's better than having them try to go through and find a whole bunch of paperwork that you left them, and then leaving that somewhere or whatever.
Also, it's also nice if the archaeology and the biology team can be on the same page sometime.
Yeah.
Because, the biology team on the project I was monitoring, they had everyone except the archaeologist had fulcrum.
Really?
Everyone. They would just send us coordinates, and everyone would be like, oh, do you need to know what the tree looks like? Here, let's go look this up. And and I'm like, why can't I have this?
Yeah.
It made it so hard. It's just I'm like, my God, this 65-foot tall tree looks just like that one, and they're both pines.
Right.
Anyway, Anyway,
Yeah.
that's me ranting a little.
Well, you're experiencing it. I mean, anytime you're taking, like, especially monitoring is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times you'll rotate monitors out on a big project, you know, you'll have them working in different areas or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not in decent communication with each other, or they're not seeing each other all the time, or there's this rotation where one person's leaving and the other person's coming and they don't have a handoff, just having everything digitally in one collected resource is really just the only way to go. So.
Oh, by the way, I finally figured out what was wrong. So, hello to YouTube. It's a long story, but for some reason, I don't know why, the tab was not showing me the go live button until I like shrunk the tab
Oh.
to like 80%. I'm like, God,
Formatting issue.
yeah, whatever. Anyway, and it's weird since this is my only Windows 10 machine, so it should be working fine, but it's not.
Right. Well, let's switch gears a little bit
Oh yeah.
and talk about something, because the last time we were live,
Yeah.
I think either during that show or shortly after, I pre-ordered the DJI Mavic Mini.
Yeah.
Well, also at that time, or at least when I think it was the week that it was supposed to get delivered,
Yeah.
I put my DJI Inspire Pro up for on eBay,
Yeah.
and I sold it. Actually,
Yeah.
the guy just got it yesterday
Oh really?
because it took like 10 days to get there.
Ah.
It was like $130 to ship it.
Wow.
It's a huge case. This is why I didn't want that thing anymore. You know, you got to look at the right tool for the right job. And when I had the Inspire,
Yeah.
you know, it was coming down that, I mean, DJI's Phantoms weren't as good yet.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the Phantoms were really subject to wind. The DJI Phantom platform wasn't as good at maintaining camera stabilization like the
Yeah.
Phantom 1s and 2s. And they weren't staying up very long, you know, I mean, 10, 15 minutes at best.
Yeah.
And the cameras weren't as good. And so if you wanted professional grade, you had to go to something like the Inspire.
Yeah.
Well, then the Mavic came out.
Ha.
And when the Mavic came out, DJI took all that experience and all that knowledge, and they
Shrunk it.
shrunk it, and they made an
Yeah.
amazing platform. And they're
Yeah.
smart too, because they made it heavy. The Mavic is made out of really heavy materials,
Yeah.
which is important for maintaining stabilization in the wind.
Yeah.
And it's also got a great camera on it. And then they came out with, for people that didn't maybe need something that was as expensive and works in so many different environments, they came out with the Mavic Air.
Oh, I was gonna say the Spark too.
Oh, the Spark as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not part of the Mavic line.
That's true.
I don't, unless it's the Mavic Spark, I don't really know.
Eh.
Yeah. Anyway, they came out with some smaller versions, but
Yeah.
and I wasn't really really into those for various reasons. I think they were too small or something. I don't know what the deal was, but and then just a month ago they announced the DJI Mavic Mini, and the Mavic Mini, while it's got a reduced camera resolution, it's only 2.7K versus 4K.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you can't tell
No.
unless you're trying to like zoom in on your video or something. But it looks really great. The camera platform is stable. If you've got a heavy wind, I mean, it's got enough flex in the camera side to side
Yeah.
that while the platform is trying to maintain its GPS stability, the camera is rock solid.
Well, I mean, it's important to point out for people who aren't very familiar with drones that this comes with a 3-axis gimbal, right?
The camera?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. It's
Yeah.
not as flexible as like the Inspire would go 360 degrees around.
Yeah.
This one does not. It's on the front.
But that's was one of the main drawbacks of the Spark.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
fact that, because that's roughly the same size as the Spark.
Yeah.
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 And it's almost like, my God, it's almost the same price as the Spark when it came out.
Sure. Well, that's it. So the Mavic Mini retails for $399 right
Yeah.
now, and DJI's like Apple; it controls its price everywhere. So you're
Yeah.
probably not going to find it cheaper unless you get a deal on it, like a coupon or something.
Oh, but you can totally order it from Best Buy and Amazon.
And I got mine from Best Buy. So, but if you pay $499, which I highly recommend,
Yeah.
because it's still worth $500, you get the Fly More package, which means it comes with this handy case,
Yeah.
which is actually a really good case, unlike the garbage case that the Inspire came with. That's why I had to buy a new case.
Oh, I didn't know that wasn't the original case.
Oh, that was not the original case. That's a $500 case.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, but it was not the original case by any means.
Wow.
So the Mavic Mini, I don't know how well you can see this. Let me try to
Ooh.
put it up here, but
Hang on. Let's go. Let me see how well you can see it on my side. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
you can see it
so-
pretty well.
so you can't really see inside here too well because of the lighting, but you've got the Mavic Mini fits right in there.
Yeah.
And then you've got the controller right here, and then what's really cool is the battery pack right here. So this battery pack has 3 batteries inside of it, and this is what you get with the Fly More package. I think you only get 1 battery if you get the regular one.
Ah.
But these batteries work for 30 minutes, and I've tested this, and
Yeah.
they're pretty close to 30 minutes,
Wow.
even in high wind conditions. So 30 minutes, but the other cool thing is, well, the kind of downside of these is when I plug
wait,
this
is
in,
that a charger?
yes, when I plug this in to charge it, because I plug all these in here, and then I plug it in just with a regular USB mini port to charge it. It runs them in series, so not in parallel. So one's going to charge, then the next one's going to charge, then the next one's going to charge. They won't all charge at the same time.
Really?
But the kind of cool thing is this has a power button on it and a USB port, so I can just turn this on and charge up my iPhone. Or anything else that's USB.
I was gonna say it's almost like AirPods. You just plug it in there.
Yeah, well, kind of, well, sort of, yeah.
You know the case I mean.
Yeah. So anyway, you can charge pretty much anything because it really is just a charging platform. But let's pull out the drone too. So it's super small.
Are you using the prop guards that it comes with?
Well, that's only for indoor flight.
Ah.
Yeah, you don't want to use those outside. Well, I guess you can, but I haven't actually used them yet.
Oh, it's interesting. It comes with the same cover that the Inspire did for the camera.
Well, no, not the Inspire, the Mavic. The Inspire didn't have a cover for this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, it had like a regular lens cover because it's just a camera. Yeah, so, but this one's pretty cool. So you just take the, it fits up super small, and if you notice, look at my iPhone 10. It's actually, I think my iPhone 10 is actually bigger than this thing.
Wow.
So you can take this from a field standpoint. It's super light too. The whole thing is maybe a couple pounds. Throw it in your field bag.
It has the same ground-to-air sensors, doesn't it? Below?
Yes. So it's got the same ground-to-air sensor, and it's got the same GPS stabilization. So you run those out like that, and now it's ready to fly. There's no landing gear or anything like that. Actually, you got to take the camera cover off, and then it's ready to fly.
Oh, and I noticed it's got a micro SD card slot.
Yeah, so micro SD card slot in the back. You can charge up the drone itself right back here because the drone needs to be charged.
Well, because the DJI Spark, that was one of the negatives. You could only record the video on your phone. It had to send it from the drone to the phone.
Well, and this is why I ended up going with this platform, and I finally went down this road because actually I intended to sell the Inspire all along.
Yeah.
And I was going to buy a Mavic, but the Mavics, I mean, the good ones, they start at like $1,200.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, do I really need that too? I wanted it for its size.
Yeah.
Well, DJI came out with this, and the size, the functionality, the durability, the ability to, I mean, you still have a pretty great radio. You have to hook your iPhone into this, or your Android phone or whatever it is. Yeah. But the radio still has a 3-mile range. Ooh. Or 3 kilometer, I guess, which is way less than 3 miles. But
oh my God, I just had an inspiration.
Yeah.
Would your would qualifying for your 107 qualify as like your 8 hours of continuing education for the RPA?
That's hard to say. It really is hard to say. I don't know. So, anyway, yeah, I've still got some of the factory stickers on this, but this thing is so simple to fly, so stable. It's way slower than my Inspire, but it doesn't need to be fast.
Yeah.
It's not a speed demon, but it is designed for anybody to be able to figure out. Now, here's the one thing I want to caution people on. It even says right on the side here. I just covered it up, but it says 259 grams, and in case you didn't know this, any drone that weighs more than 250 grams, or I think 250 grams and up, has to be registered with the FAA.
Oh, wait, I thought it was 260, because I thought that's why they went with 259.
249.
Oh.
Yeah, it's 250. So if your drone weighs 250 grams, I don't care if you bought it at a gas station, you're supposed to register it with the FAA, whether you're using it for commercial use or not.
Oh, I did not know that.
So all drones over 250 grams are supposed to be registered with the FAA. Yeah. It's like if you build an airplane from scratch from a kid.
That's true.
You still have to register it.
Yeah.
You register as an experimental plane. Because they want to know when that thing crashes who's responsible.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you have to register it. Now people are saying online, because they don't understand, they're like, "Oh, I don't have to register it. I can go do whatever I want." True, you don't have to register it, but if you're going to use it for commercial purposes, you will have to register it, and you will have to be a Part 107 pilot. So you have to get your same regulations covered.
It's not really that difficult, though.
And Leah wants me to fly it in here, which I probably could, actually. I think it would fly out of camera pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, man, there was something I was going to say, but whatever. Oh, wait. You think that this is, like, we're getting to the point where something, like, there's going to be, like, a Monson Engineering for, like, drones? Where, like, they're just going to send them to companies?
Well, there's companies where you can rent drones from right now. Yeah, like Anatom Geomobile Solutions will rent you a drone, a whole drone package.
But do you think that companies are finally going to start taking them up on it?
Well, I think that is coming down the line. There's a lot of bigger engineering firms and some of the companies that are more progressive that are getting Part 107 pilots that are archaeologists. And I don't know right now. I'd like to see this, but I think they're probably still using them, if I had to guess, for photogrammetry projects and things like that. not really thinking, hey, maybe every field crew should have one of these. So when you go out to, because this has got, I mean, I've got in this small several pound package, I've got 90 minutes worth of flying time.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking about, let's say your average field day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we might record, just because of the time it takes to record a site. If you're just site after site after site, you might record 10 or 15 sites in a day, and that's on a high day.
Yeah.
Right? So at the very end, when you go to take your site overviews or your features, you can just toss the drone up, and in 5 minutes, you can get some great site overview photos.
Oh.
You can get some great overview photos of your features.
Well, I was gonna go further than that. I was gonna say, like, you could use it to like do your site boundaries. You could use it to like scout ahead to see if there's actually like a way through, like, with your vehicles.
Okay, so you're talking about two different things: site boundaries and survey limits. Let me talk about that in a second. But so recording a site, I think having somebody with the drone in their pocket or in their backpack and just doing that at the end while the flags are still up.
Yeah.
Everything's still there, and just getting some good site overviews. You wouldn't need more than 5 minutes of flying time to really get that done. So anyway, there's that. But like you said, trying to determine access.
Yeah.
What's on the other side of that hill?
Yeah.
Is it worth us even going up there? And I'm not even thinking vehicles. I mean, roads are one thing, but if you have to get somewhere, you have to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But when we're surveying and we look at this slope and we say, man, that is a dangerous slope. We know there's nothing on it, but it looks like there's possibly a flat spot at the top of this thing.
That's true.
And there might be a cairn up there.
Yeah.
do we need to go up there? Is it worth it? Let's just send the drone up.
Yeah.
We'll look at the imagery live, and we'll just see, is there a reason for us to go up there, or is maybe we snap a few pictures up there, we send that back to the BLM and say, hey, we can't get up here, but this is what's there.
Oh my God, it can be your 3 o'clock eyes, so to speak.
Oh, jeez. That's a different conversation entirely. So anyway, I'm pretty encouraged by stuff like this, and I don't...
Because I know that, who is it? Trimble, like, their drone, they actually use it to lay out, like, they're using it to lay out, like, like, building foundation and stuff. So obviously you can use these to, like, record, like, boundaries or whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, if the drone's marking its own track, too.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't looked to see within the app, because there's a new app that you have to download to run this app, to run this drone, and this is not professional grade.
Yeah.
Yet. So, and I honestly haven't tried to fly this drone, so I've only flown it twice now.
Oh, really?
But I haven't tried to fly this drone. Yeah, I can't fly it at my house, because it's DJI, and it knows where it's at, because all the DJI drones know they're at.
Oh, and you're pretty
and
near the airport.
I'm on the approach path for the cross runway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I just took off from that runway yesterday in the CAP plane.
Ooh.
Flew right over the house. Anyway, so the point is, what I was saying is about flying this. What the hell was I saying? I don't even know.
Well, we were talking about boundaries.
Oh, yeah. So I haven't tried to fly this with one of my other more sophisticated applications like Autopilot or something like that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen if they've updated to be able to take this drone, because they have to have the firmware, the software update to be able to read the firmware within inside this drone.
True, but it'd be silly of them not to.
Well, of course. I just don't know if they've done it yet, because I don't know if they had their hands on one.
Yeah.
But when that happens, I know with some of those apps you can download the track. And
Yeah.
if you can download the track, depending on what accuracy you need for like your site boundary, you're totally right, and I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
You can probably fly a site boundary with your drone.
Because, I mean, think about all those damn sites. They're like a meter long. You have to walk the whole thing.
You mean a mile long, a kilometer long?
Yeah, that's
not a meter long.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like, a kilometer long.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of those cases, we'll get all the GPS data and then just wrap a site boundary around it in post.
That's true, too. But some companies don't.
Some companies don't. If you're still walking really long site boundaries, you're wasting a lot of time.
I know.
Your site boundary really should be, if you flagged everything out, your site boundary should be whatever your threshold is past an artifact or a feature. Bam, site boundary.
That's actually why I really like Collector, because you can, it's easy to draw things in afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask just to the people that are still watching this: are you using drones? Is your company using drones for anything, or have you seen or heard of other companies using drones? Because again, the only thing I've heard of people using it for is like large scale landscape. Large scale landscape surveys.
Yeah.
Or other gear and stuff like that, but not necessarily for what we're talking about.
Yeah, I feel like it's more academic use.
That might be.
Because I mean, when you think about it,
CRM firms are using it though. That's what I'm saying.
True, but I mean, it could also be just a super fast way of my God, it could just be a super fast way of recording artifacts. Like,
Yeah.
if you came up with specialized flags,
Yeah.
like, artifact one, you put the specialized flag down there with, like, your little photogrammetry thing, and then you
Sure.
hover it over it, and then, that way you wouldn't have a field tech just walking around from point to point anymore,
Right.
and just, like, have it fly around,
Sure. Sure.
which would be super handy.
Yeah.
Other things.
I don't know.
Ooh.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's my spiel on drones. Let me know if you guys are using them.
And it's so small. It's like it's probably about as heavy when you think about it as like a Trimble.
Yeah.
You know.
So some notes here. Leah says she is in the lab full time now, so she's not using drones. But Chuck says he can't use Collector because it goes on the cloud. And what do you mean by that? Because
Yeah.
it does work offline.
Yeah, but you have to sync data to the cloud.
Yeah, you have to have an ArcGIS Online account to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the downside. If that's what you mean, or if it's... What I'm curious, Chuck, is do you guys not have the ArcGIS Online account, or is there a security reason why it can't go into their cloud?
Because it'd be weird, because every company in California I know uses it. Like, Nevada is the only state where everyone seems to hate Collector.
Well, I hate Collector personally.
I know.
I don't like it. I don't like it because of how hard it is to set up. You have to set it up within that ArcGIS Online account.
I know, but once you get it set up, it's like,
Yeah.
the app in the field is like super intuitive.
Oh,
and
I'm
easy.
sure. But it's just not intuitive to set up.
I know.
It's garbage to set up, and I've done it. I just had to do it a few months ago.
Ah.
And I just didn't like it at all. I feel like it just should be easier. With such an expensive a $1 billion company, they could come up with a better way to set up just field recording forms.
What would Microsoft would Windows 10 look like Windows 10 without Mac OS, or would it still look like DOS?
Well, yeah. I mean, I hear you. So yeah, but
Until something like what's that free program, becomes more widely used, at least here in this country.
yeah,
QGIS.
yeah.
Because they actually have their own version of Collector.
I know. Yeah, it's called QGIS Field or something
Yeah.
like that. But
Yeah.
it only works on Android. Last I
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but until something like that becomes more widespread, at least in this country, because I know it's used overseas a lot more.
I think just not enough people know about it.
Yeah.
And the companies they work for already have Esri licenses.
True.
So
Which I think is a shame.
yeah. Well, it's a huge shame. It's a huge
Yeah.
waste of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Ha.
anyway, well, we're 50 minutes in. What else you got?
Oh my God. I probably shouldn't be plugging this place since no one knows. Probably no one's watching. Holly, who lives in Reno, but I will say I did find a super awesome hot dog place.
Way to keep it on task.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Our listeners just went down by one the minute you said that.
But the thing is, oh my God, this place was so good. Like I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
Like this poor lady, like she's got like no customers, but it's like, my God, the corned beef was so good. It was like better than Cantor's. If you're from LA and you've been there, like Cantor's is like this like super famous all you can late night joint that's open forever. That's
Yeah.
been open forever, like it's not Beverly Hills. I want to say it's like Hollywood. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's like whatchamacallit. My God, it's so good. It's just like a lady and her daughter, and I'm like, I cannot believe this place has more customers.
Hey, real quick, Chuck says it's a security issue.
Oh, it is? How
He
come?
says Forest Service is making their own app, and he's part of the trial version. And then Athena,
Yeah.
who I haven't seen on here yet, said the Forest Service that she works with apparently uses Collector and Avenza.
Oh
So-
yeah, we use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people use Avenza. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a decent program.
Yeah.
See, that's what I like about Avenza is it's actually simple
Yeah.
and does a few things really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas Collector's not. It's garbage.
That's true. But as for the officially sanctioned programs I've used,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hear you.
But God, what was I thinking? I was gonna mention, because originally I was gonna mention this during the 10 to 1 hour thing.
Mm-hmm.
But how many companies I feel like if you're a biologist or you're whatever ologist, and you walk into an archaeology office, you're like,
Yeah.
did I just step back into 2005?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like how I still cannot believe how far behind archaeologists are, and in everything.
Yeah.
Because he was mentioning Chuck was mentioning the Forest Service. It's like a lot of these larger companies, like who is it? Far Western, I think Far Western, as far as I understand,
Mhm.
has like their own team of coders coming up with an app.
Yeah.
With their own field recording app, and then you look at all these other companies, all these other large engineering firms that like show up at the SCAs or whatever conference every year, and they got these giant, and they're like developing apps, or starting to use apps and training people to use apps, and it's just like,
Yeah.
What's going to start happening to like these small to medium-sized companies when they find out that suddenly they're still in 2005, but then it's like 2023?
Yeah, here's what's going to happen. First off, Leah says best deli ever. I think she's talking about Cantor's.
Oh,
What you mentioned. Yeah, I've never heard of it because I haven't been down there.
it's really famous actually in LA.
Anyway, what I think you like most people are not pulling out and looking at the bigger problem here, because you're right. A lot of these bigger firms with the money and the foresight are building their own applications.
Yeah.
Or they're like Paleo West, where they built one and then they bought Codify.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't think they looked at that before they bought it too closely. But anyway, so you got all these companies that are building their own applications for field recording use, right?
Yeah.
Which is amazingly thoughtful, and they're putting a lot of money into it, and they're going to do that. And you're right; they might put a lot of mom and pops out of business, or small to medium firms out of business because of their competitive advantage. But here's the problem: they're not thinking of.
Yeah.
They're not thinking of support for these apps.
Yeah.
It is hard to maintain an application.
Yeah.
It's relatively easy to build one.
Yeah,
I mean, the apps that we need are not that hard.
Yeah, like look at DevChris.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's not even an app.
I know, but it's like support.
But it's not that hard to build like an application that pulls stuff in. Now I'm saying that knowing that I work with the WildNode developers every day. It is actually really hard to make it stable and to make it feature rich and do all these fun things. It's not hard to make a basic crappy form builder like Collector. I mean, they probably threw that app together in a few weeks and said, here you go. But it's hard to do one that's really well done and works well in the field and doesn't crash all the time. That's the hard part, getting stable code.
True.
But here's the thing. Let's say you manage to do that. You spent $200,000 and you manage to get an Android and iOS application, or maybe you're all in on one platform and you buy a bunch of hardware. Well, and that's even worse. But let's say in 5 years, or even how about 5 months, both those softwares update, and now you got to call your developers back in because you don't actually have them on staff. You contracted a company to build you this app, and all of a sudden it's out of date and it's crashing everything in the field. Or something else updates. I would much rather find. Unfortunately, this is what Collector has going for it. Collector's run by $1 billion company that's not going to go out of business anytime soon. So I would much rather have somebody whose job it is to maintain that code, to maintain those standards, because while Collector is not the best app I've ever seen, it's always going to work with iOS and Android. Yeah. It's always going to be updated. Yeah. Because Esri's paying attention.
Well, and that's the thing. Like a company like Far Western, apparently if they have these people on staff, it's just like, there's going to be maintained.
Yeah.
Might be wrong.
And Chuck Hutchinson said the Forest Service app that he's trialing is super thoughtful and connects directly to their heritage database. But Chuck, the problem here is this app is more than likely not being built by the Forest Service. It's being built by a contractor who won a contract to build this app by the Forest Service. And I just worry about what's this app going to be doing in 3 years. Do they have a long-term support plan for this? Is it a one and done to build the app and then they have to contract out to have it maintained? Because you can build an amazing thing right out of the gate, but it's maintenance. Yeah. I'm thinking about that truck we've talked about, the Rivian. Yeah. Now that Tesla's going to do a truck, they have a built-in support system. They have service centers all over the world. Well, all over this country anyway. Yeah. They have charging stations. They have service centers. If your Tesla car or future Tesla truck breaks down, you can bring it in and get it serviced.
And the batteries are like, they build the batteries.
Right. But this Rivian truck that we've seen, which is kind of a one-off by a startup auto company. Yeah. I mean, there's no way I would buy that truck now. If I had the money, there's no way I would buy it. Even though it's way cooler than the Tesla truck. Yeah. It's got a lot more features. It simply isn't going to be supported.
I mean, it's like when you were talking about word processors, like I watch a bunch of vintage tech channels, and it's just like, when Apple came out with its GUI, like Commodore came out with its own GUI, Tandy/Radio Shack actually came out with its own like version of Windows, and stuff like that, and anyone who bought that is basically SOL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to look at who's going to be around in 10 years, and when you're talking about using an application to record sensitive archaeological and historical data, and then storing those data into another platform, or in a format maybe, hopefully that goes into a database or something like that. If it's a proprietary format, you're totally hosed. Yeah. But if it's a format that you can get out of there that's human readable, or at least readable by an international standard, that's what you need. And you need something that's supportable in the long run.
Yeah, like, I mean, can you still open Apple Write programs?
Right. Probably not. Yeah, probably not. So,
I mean, there are certain like Windows documents I can't open anymore because they were like created for like Windows 98.
Right.
You know, and you can't open them.
Right.
Like how many there was one BLM office I can think of in Nevada where they were still using zip disk.
Yeah, it's insane. It's totally insane. So, anyway, I love that companies are trying to build their own applications and get into digital archaeology because that's where we need to be.
Yeah.
And talking about bringing down that 10-to-1 field to office ratio.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only way we're going to do it. But I think that they really need to be cautious, and they really need to look and make sure their app is long-term supported. If it's not, I mean, they really need to go with a third party whose job it is to maintain that support. That's the best thing you get from going with a third-party application. And I hate to say, but that's one of the best things about Collector.
Yeah.
Is that it does have third-party support.
Yeah.
And that third party is Esri. You know, I mean, they're, like I said, they're a billion-dollar company. That app's not going anywhere.
And you know, if the archaeology market goes south, they don't really care.
Yeah.
Because you know everyone uses them.
Yeah. So, and I like that Chuck and Athena are having a Forest Service conversation in the background here. This is awesome.
Neat.
Nice job, guys. I'm glad we could have, got this conversation rolling for you.
Yeah.
And it sounds like I really want to see this app that he's talking about from the
that would
Forest
be
Service.
cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see what's going on there.
That should be the sort of thing that, you know, because you always see like Forest Service representation at these conferences.
Yeah.
Like, why don't they set something like that up at a booth?
I don't know. Maybe they will. Well, they're not trying to sell it though.
That's
internal.
true. But you know,
It's internal. What are they going to do with it?
Well, that's true. But I mean, like,
No.
you know, they always present what we're doing now, our research, stuff like that.
Well, sure, but I don't think they'll have a booth about it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, unless it's a hiring booth and it's like, hey, come work with us. We have this.
Oh, before I forget, are you going to go be at the SCAs this year?
Yeah, already bought the ticket.
Oh,
So-
wait, is there going to be is there going to be an APN booth?
I don't know if there's going to be an APN booth because I can't run both. I'm definitely going to be in the WildNote booth.
Yeah.
But it just depends on a number of factors. I'd have to get somebody else to run the APN booth full time.
Oh.
You know,
I was
so
gonna say I could volunteer.
yeah, but you need to be there the whole time.
I know.
I know, and I don't want to take somebody who, is coming down to go to the conference and say, "Here, work in my booth for free." So, so I don't know. I'd love for there to be an APN booth, but I got to really figure out what that looks like too, because last year I bought a bunch of swag, and to be honest, not a lot of it went out the door.
I know.
And it seemed like having the APN booth was good just for exposure.
Yeah.
But was it worth it in any other way? I'd have to figure out what is the ROI on that, and what would it look like? What would you want to see in an APN booth? You know, people just want free shit when they're walking through there.
Oh, I know.
You know, and we don't have the volume to buy swag in order to sell it at a price that people want to buy. You know, otherwise I got to charge $20 for a T-shirt
True.
that maybe somebody only wants to pay $10 for. But then I lose. I paid $15 for that T-shirt.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Oh.
but there'll definitely be a WildNote booth there.
Yeah. Oh,
so-
before I forget, Riverside is like a really pretty venue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Also, all the bicycle and scooter sharing services are there.
nice.
I don't even know why I mentioned that.
Well, maybe Chuck or somebody else at the Forest Service with access to this app will be at the SCA and
Yeah.
can show it to me.
Yeah.
So.
Oh
Yeah.
God, that'd be cool if they just had it on their phone, because that's one of the handiest things about Collector and all these various apps is I just
Yeah.
like have it on my phone.
Yeah.
Like I recently had to turn in all my equipment and I realized, oh crap, I haven't used this tablet at all, so I better make sure it works.
Right.
So I had to plug it in; it was completely dead.
Well, that's the thing too. I think tablets are out. I think tablets are great for excavation.
Yeah.
Tablets are great for drawing.
Yeah.
But tablets for field recording, we just don't need it.
No, and more
It's too bad.
importantly, with the advent of like folding phones,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
basically got a tablet, or will have a tablet.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a couple years before that's mainstream, but we'll see.
You say that, but
is
I mean-
Samsung still selling that one?
Yeah. They just
Yeah.
re-released it, and the Motorola Razr.
Yeah.
Yeah. It like folds into basically in half.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like super cool. Well, at least to me, it's cool. It's not like $1,500 cool, which is what it cost.
Wow, everything's going to come full circle because I remember when the ads for the first iPad were coming out.
Yeah.
One of the ads that I saw was that it was almost identical in size to 4 iPhones, like next to each other,
Yeah.
like iPhones in a square.
Yeah.
And whatever it was, like the iPhone 4 at the time or something like that.
Yeah.
Or 3GS or 4, I don't remember what it was, but I'm waiting to see like that come full circle. And it's basically you've got an iPhone that just like unfolds and unfolds into a full-size iPad.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ooh, or
Um,
iPad Pro even better.
I know, right? Hey, they get them thin enough, you might be able to just keep unfolding it into a bigger and bigger thing. Make it a screen, and then hook up a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they come up with the gesture, start making gestures work properly.
Yeah, gestures are hard. Yeah,
Because
people screw them up.
Because I know there's I just saw some new I don't know if it's brand new, but some Amazon device.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Sonos, but basically it's something where they were showing it and they were using hand gestures to control the video.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't know if it was an ad or what, but it was super
I don't
cool.
know.
I wanted
Oh, I've seen the Google ad for the new Google Home or Nest or Home or something like
Yes.
that.
Oh.
They use gestures to control that.
Oh, it's a Google device.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
yeah.
even better.
Yeah, it's Google Nest device, I think.
Ah.
So, anyway, I think we're gonna call it.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching. I never even put up our outro screen.
Oh, really?
But
I just did.
But I'll do that now. And
Oh, that's cool. So now that I've shrunk this tab, I can see all the new things I can do.
nice.
Like
nice.
apparently I can create highlights and like
Oh.
just download it to my computer and like put it up for some
Well,
reason.
there you go. There you go.
Oh wow, this is
So anyway, thanks. I can't believe how many people we had here. I mean, I
Yeah.
shared it out to a lot of places. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Go like the Archaeology Podcast Network Facebook page,
Yeah.
and that way you can get more notification when we do go live. It's not all the time.
Yeah.
It's whenever we can manage to do it. There's no
Yeah.
schedule for it. But now that Richie's on winter break, maybe we'll get a little more regular schedule the next few months. But
Yeah.
I'm out of town a lot too, so it's
That's
going to have to be
true.
either weekend or early week stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah. Oh my god, and to bring it back to Facebook/unions, we can help the RPA create their very own cartel.
Oh my! There you go. There you go.
Speaking
So,
of guests we should have.
I know. Well, we had 8 reactions to this, 40 comments, and
Really?
5 people still watching. So
Really?
again, thanks everybody.
Wow.
And if you want to check these out on YouTube or Richie's channel,
Yeah.
head over to.
HappyArchaeologyFuntime.com or Happy Archaeology Funtime.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. And Caitlin says, "Don't give Apple any ideas."
Too late.
Trust me, I don't think they listen to anybody else. So.
Well, you never know. Now that Johnny Ives is gone, they've actually listened.
well,
Like the new.
They need ideas.
Yeah, like the new MacBook Pro. They finally started listening to their customers.
Yeah, yeah.
Ha.
So, and Leah says, thanks, guys. Well, thanks, Leah, for listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, this is so much better. Oh wait.